Tara Grinstead disappeared on Saturday, October 22nd, 2005. When a person disappears without a trace, often the most critical information is hidden in their actions and words from the days before they vanished. Tara Grinstead's last known whereabouts may hold the clues to what happened to her. A small-town beauty queen, loved by all.
If you were ever Tara's friend, you would be her friend for life.
Vanishes under baffling circumstances.
There can be an abduction with no indication of a struggle.
She gave me the impression that he acted like he was not himself.
He claimed that he was a serial killer.
A massive police investigation thrusts a tiny town into the national spotlight.
There was a latex glove.
There's all kinds of reasons why people kill others.
I've been involved in some major investigations, but this one has had more twists and turns.
It's worse than death. Death is final. Someone vanishing, it's not final until you find them.
On the day she disappears, high school teacher Tara Grinstead spends the afternoon with some of her students. They're preparing for the Miss Georgia Sweet Potato Pageant, a big event in a small, close-knit town like Ocilla, Georgia.
On that Saturday, Tara had helped a lot of the girls prepare for the pageant. She had done their hair and their makeup.
A lot of them borrowed her dresses as well. And she had so much fun. She had a really good time with the girls. You know, they had snacks and had lunch.
Tara has an especially close relationship with many of her students.
I never heard anybody say a bad thing about Tara. They related really well to her. She always went the extra mile to help her kids, and she made class so much fun.
Most of Tara's students would say, well, she's my teacher, but she's also my friend.
Tara has been involved in beauty pageants since her high school years, but has her own agenda about the competitions.
Pageanting was not for show and not for everybody to tell her she's beautiful. I think it gave her self-confidence, number one. I think it bettered her self-esteem.
Contestant number 2.
In 1999, Tara won the title of Miss Tifton, Georgia. That victory gave her the opportunity to compete in the Miss Georgia pageant.
Once you accomplish one of your dreams, I mean, how often do you get to do that? And she did by going to Miss Georgia.
Tara doesn't win the Miss Georgia pageant, but her family says that for her, winning was never the most important thing.
I never saw in her that winning a pageant was an ego thing. It was not about just the title of winning. It was always about accomplishing something.
Tara's goal had always been education. She succeeds in funding her entire undergraduate education with money earned from pageants.
She knew college is expensive and it was going to be tough on her, and she did not want to burden her mother any more than she had to.
After getting her bachelor's degree in education, Tara works full-time and takes graduate classes at night, working steadily toward her ultimate goal, a PhD in education.
She had gotten a 6-year degree in administration, and that was what she was pursuing her doctorate in. I think she eventually wanted to be a high school principal.
That Saturday night, a happy and relaxed Tara leaves the sweet potato pageant and heads over to a cookout attended by friends from school.
Tara stayed at the cookout for about 2 hours and left at approximately 11 p.m., ostensibly to go home.
She said she was going to watch the video of the pageant, and then she was going to go to bed.
In a small town like Ocilla, neighbors look out for each other. Because she lives alone, Tara and her next-door neighbors have a system for saying, "I'm home and all is well."
every night when she came home, the first thing she would do was go into her room and turn on the lamp in the bedroom. The neighbors would look out and they would see that lamp on, and it would kind of be a signal to them, well, Tara's made it home.
That night, the light in Tara's window never goes on. The next day, nobody sees Tara. No one is able to contact her, including her mother.
The more that she called and the longer that the time went on that Tara didn't call her back, she started to get concerned.
Sometimes people just want to be left alone. But I can't imagine her ever ignoring her mother's phone call.
On Monday morning, Tara doesn't show up to teach her classes at Irwin County High School. Friends and family know that something is very wrong.
That was a red flag for me because I knew what a dedicated teacher Tara was.
Tara had never missed a day of school without prearranging a substitute teacher.
One of Tara's friends calls Ocilla Police Chief Billy Hancock.
He indicated to me that Tara had not been seen over the last day, that if the school had been contacted, she had not shown up there.
Chief Hancock arrives at Tara's residence at approximately 10 a.m. on Monday. Her car is parked in its usual spot under the carport.
The fact that her car was there and she wasn't meant that she probably left with someone.
The doors of the car are unlocked. Oddly, there is an envelope containing $100 in cash left in the center console.
I would think it'd be unusual for anybody to leave that amount of cash in the car and leave it unlocked.
That's not like Tara to have money laying around any place.
Inside Tara's house, however, everything looks fairly normal.
There was no sign of forcible entry. There was no clear indication that any kind of struggle had occurred inside.
Both the exterior and interior of Tara's residence are photographed in detail.
Every room was photographed thoroughly to capture, what the condition of the house was at the time of our arrival.
Clothing and accessories scattered around the floor help police reconstruct some of Tara's last known movements.
The clothes Tara was wearing on the night of October 22nd were on the floor in her bedroom, which indicated to us that she had indeed arrived home. Her bed appeared as if possibly somebody had either slept in it or laid in it.
Her cell phone was in the charger. It was still there in the charger. And to us, it indicates that she left the house with intentions of coming back. She knew she wasn't going to be gone long enough to have use of her cell phone.
Investigators locate more intriguing clues outside Tara's house. A business card is wedged into her front door. They find something far more disturbing on the ground.
Initial law enforcement officers who arrived immediately spotted a latex glove lying in the grass in the front yard, several feet away from the front door.
Then I really got scared.
For investigators, the latex glove is an ominous indicator of foul play.
It certainly indicated to us that there was a strong likelihood that a crime had occurred. It would imply that whoever was using it was trying to avoid being detected.
The latex glove's not something that all of us have. I think somebody had it very specifically so that they would not leave a trace.
Our gut feeling upon processing Tara's residence was that a crime had occurred.
Coming up, police investigate the men in Tara's life and uncover some troubling leads.
She gave me the impression that he acted like he was not stable.
After a day spent with friends and colleagues, 30-year-old high school teacher Tara Grinstead has vanished.
I have never known Tara to just take off without letting somebody know. I'm not aware of any time that she ever did that. Everybody might not know, but somebody always knew where she was.
By the time local police arrive at her residence, nobody has seen or heard from Tara for almost 2 days.
Everybody knew that she just had not, gone off for a couple of days, that something had happened, something serious had happened to Tara.
Due to the urgent nature of the case, Ocilla Police request the assistance of the Georgia Bureau of Investigation.
When a person goes missing and we're asked to investigate, we operate with the premise that we're going to presume the worst and hope for the best.
To investigators, a latex glove found near Tara's front door makes it look like someone was attempting to cover up a crime.
Either there was an abduction of Tara in which someone wore gloves, or they returned to the scene and accidentally dropped a glove.
Besides the glove, police have few indications that a crime took place.
To us, there was no clear sign of a struggle. However, that doesn't affect how you proceed in an investigation, because there can be an abduction with no indication of a struggle. It'd be quite easy to take someone out of their house at gunpoint and there'd be no disturbance whatsoever.
My gut feeling is that somebody came by and she left with someone that she knew, and that something horrible happened after that.
Tara's family begins to fear that they might not ever see her again. Meanwhile, the lack of a crime scene presents a daunting challenge to investigators.
In a typical criminal investigation, you have an outcome against which you can measure evidence and theories. In a missing persons case, you don't have that outcome, so you can't measure anything against anything. Everything remains in play.
Law enforcement seals Tara's house and takes her car and the latex glove in for evidence processing.
We actually had a crime lab scientist on the phone immediately who was preparing a plan as to how to handle that latex glove to maximize the possibility of the recovery of evidence.
Tara has been missing for 12 hours. That evening, at Irwin County High School, students and teachers band together in an effort to find her.
The first flyer that was made just basically had a picture of Tara and just had the words missing on it. It just described her height and weight and color of her hair and her eyes.
The students are coming up and they're like, what can we do? We can't just stand around. And I was so touched that, these kids did that. And, they did this until like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Tara's fellow teachers and students design and then distribute hundreds of flyers throughout the Ocilla area.
Posters were everywhere in this community. I mean, they were on light poles, in business windows, on cars, just almost everywhere imaginable.
Georgia Bureau of Investigation agents interview all of Tara's neighbors and conduct an extensive search of her neighborhood.
Also, some tracking dogs were brought in to try to see if they could pick up on any kind of scent of Tara, to see if she had gone somewhere on foot that we might be able to find her.
Both the canvas and the search dogs turn up nothing of value to investigators. Searching for clues, they delve deeply into Tara's background.
You learn as much about the victim as you can. Their timeline, their propensities, their associates.
They learn that Tara's circle of acquaintances was huge, from her second job at a department store makeup counter to the various campuses where she took graduate classes.
She had been going to school at night for several years, working on her master's and her specialist degree, so that involved a lot of students that she had met that obviously we would not know.
But it is closer to home that investigators uncover a deeper mystery.
A lot of disappearance cases, you kind of have an immediate focus. You have, a close associate, a boyfriend, or what have you, ex-husband, husband. In this case, what we learned was Tara had several such associates.
Looking into Tara's personal life, they find a complex series of relationships with men.
Tara was involved romantically with several different persons in a close period of time, and she kept those relationships separate from one another.
Investigators focus first on Tara's ex-boyfriend, Marcus Harper.
Tara had a long-term romantic relationship with Marcus Harper. They had broken up approximately a year earlier. Tara had ended the relationship because she believed Marcus wasn't ready to get married.
Investigators learned that Harper served in the Ocilla Police Department for 4 years and then enlisted in the United States Army Rangers in 2001.
And she's very proud of him and what he accomplished because he was really good at what he did.
Investigators from the GBI conduct a series of interviews with Marcus Harper.
We interviewed Marcus Harper the very first day and talked to him several times after that.
Over the years that the couple was together, Tara's friends and family got to know Marcus well.
They really looked like a great couple. I mean, he was big and strong, and she was, you know, they were like a really good couple, and I think that they enjoyed each other.
Anytime that we were around Marcus, we had a very good relationship with him. He was always very respectful to us. He was always respectful to Tara when we were with them.
Anita Gaddis sees her sister's relationship with Marcus quite differently.
Tara was a little bit afraid of him. You know, he's been an Army Ranger, and the training that they have is just unbelievable. The things that they can do, the things that they survive. And we stayed in touch with him during his training, and I know what he was able to survive. So I know what the guy's made of.
Despite the differing perceptions within her family, investigators find no history of violence in Tara and Marcus's relationship. But they discovered that several months before she disappeared, Tara did experience the threat of violence at the hands of one of her former students.
He had gone over to her house one afternoon in March of 2005. He wanted to speak to her.
The 20-year-old graduated from Irwin County High School the previous year. After taking Tara's history class, he developed a fondness for her.
They had a closer relationship upon his graduation. He would speak to her and see her from time to time.
I just thought it was, you know, one of her students that had, you know, a crush on Tara because she was so beautiful and so sweet to all of her students. And he was the soul that Tara would have wanted to help.
But according to friends, Tara had expressed concern about her former student's behavior.
She had told me she'd been having trouble with him, like kind of getting a little too attached to her or whatever, and kind of got an impression that he was not stable.
Months before Tara disappeared, he came to her house and tried to physically force his way inside.
He wanted to speak to her, and she didn't want to talk to him at that time, and she wouldn't let him in the house, and he became quite upset, loud, began yelling and banging on her door, trying to gain entry.
That was a very violent situation. Neighbors actually had to call the police because he was so loud.
And was yelling and screaming through the door and banging on the door, and she gave me the impression that he acted like he was not himself.
Coming up, in the weeks before she disappears, Tara's personal life begins to unravel.
She called hysterically. I said, "Tara, are you okay? You are not thinking about suicide."
"30-year-old Tara Grinstead has been missing for 24 hours. Agents from the Georgia Bureau of Investigation learned that 7 months earlier, one of Tara's former students appeared uninvited at her home and tried to force his way inside.
He wanted to speak to her. She did not come to the door. He began to bang on the door. Basically, there started to become a disturbance.
I don't know if he read some signals wrong or if he just had a crush on her that he took too far.
I believe she just thought he might go away, but I think she realized that he wasn't going away, so she came to the door. They spoke briefly, and I think she tried to go back inside. She then started to shut her door, and he grabbed her on the arm. She pulled away and was able to shut the door.
At the time, Ocilla police are unable to get the former student to calm down, so he is arrested for disorderly conduct. According to Tara's handwritten statement to police, he invaded my privacy in my own home. While doing so in a raging and out-of-control manner, I was very scared for my well-being, as well as concerned about him.
His actions at the house did concern us, that there was some sort of a connection between he and Tara.
She never told me that she had any kind of inappropriate relationship with him. I don't think she did.
Still, the former student's strange behavior is reason enough for investigators to look for a connection with Tara's disappearance.
We thought it critical to interview him immediately. He was working at a job in Milledgeville, Georgia, about 100 miles away, and we immediately had an agent in that area find him.
The former student is able to account for his time on the night that Tara disappeared. Meanwhile, investigators keep digging into Marcus Harper and his relationship with Tara. In February of 2002, Marcus was deployed to Afghanistan. According to her sister, the separation and distance became difficult for Tara to deal with.
She said she really could not stay in that kind of relationship because if they go overseas and something bad happens to them, you know, you never find them, nobody knows anything.
I could tell after that things changed a lot for them. He changed and their relationship changed. But she just didn't want to quit. She loved him.
Tara and Marcus end their relationship, but remain in close contact.
They still saw each other occasionally. They still talked and emailed and called. And so Tara took that as there was still some kind of relationship.
Then, 3 weeks before Tara disappears, Marcus returns home to Ocilla, but doesn't contact her.
He had not told Tara he was home. Tara found out that he was back in Ocilla in Irwin County from a third party, and that made her very upset.
That really devastated her. She felt betrayed, and at that point I said, okay, look, he didn't want you to know he was back. And I remember saying to her, you know, now it's the time you move on, but she just could not quite get over Marcus.
Investigators learn that Tara calls Marcus from her car and confronts him about not getting in touch.
She was coming back from class in Waycross when she had engaged in a telephone conversation with Marcus Harper.
Marcus tells Tara that their relationship is over once and for all. According to friends and family, she has an emotional breakdown on the road.
She called hysterically and just felt like she was not able to drive. And one person went and picked her up, and the other passenger drove her car home. So they took her back to her house, and from what I understand, you know, they had to carry her in, and she was just so, you know, hysterical, crying.
Tara's fragile emotional state worries those closest to her.
I said, Tara, I mean, in these exact words, do you need anything? Do we need to do anything for you? Are you okay? You are not thinking about suicide. No, I promise you, I'm not, and that is not it. She said, I'm a little depressed, which everybody gets, but I am not suicidal.
Tara's family believes that she would never have committed suicide, regardless of how depressed she may have been over Marcus.
She was just not that type of person. She would not have done that to our mother. There's absolutely no way, regardless of how, you know, distraught or upset she was.
Agents at the Georgia Bureau of Investigation come to the same conclusion.
The possibility of suicide was something that was certainly considered, but after a few days and she hadn't been found, it made it much less likely, because when one commits suicide, it's quite difficult to dispose of your own body. So we believe that had that occurred, we would have found her already.
In the meantime, investigators continue to gather information from Marcus Harper. In a series of interviews, he accounts for his time on the night Tara disappeared.
He said that On Saturday night, he had gone to the White Horse Saloon in Fitzgerald, where he visited with some friends until approximately 2 in the morning.
After that, Marcus says he met up with his friend and former partner on the Ocilla Police Department and spent the night in a police cruiser, doing a ride-along.
We were able to corroborate that as best it could be corroborated. There was, no point that he didn't cooperate with us in the investigation.
For the moment, investigators' focus shifts away from Marcus Harper. Then, the business card found on Tara's front door provides a new lead. Agents learn that it belongs to a police officer from a nearby town, a married man.
We learned that he and Tara were very close. He had been trying to contact Tara all day Sunday and had left a number of messages on her answering machine.
A neighbor tells police that he was a frequent visitor to Tara's house.
He went down there and left his card in the door so that when she got home that she would know that he had been by there.
Investigators interview the officer, and he provides an alibi for his time the night Tara disappeared.
He was interviewed and gave a very thorough timeline of his actions over the last couple of weeks.
They put his family through questioning and the people he was with that night. The thing is if he had anything to do with it, he wouldn't have gone down there and left a business card and door,
4 days after Tara's disappearance, investigators find themselves back at square one. Desperate to uncover tangible evidence, they organize a large-scale search for Tara.
A organized, comprehensive ground search took place of the entire perimeter of Irwin County.
We had horses, we had airplanes, people volunteered, we had four-wheelers, four-wheel drive vehicles, we had people walking.
The massive search effort uses every tool available in Irwin County's arsenal. Dozens of agencies and hundreds of volunteer searchers take part in the effort to find Tara.
It's a very emotional thing, especially when you know the area they're going, when you know they're looking in open, deep wells, when you know they're going through swamps, when you know they're looking in abandoned grain bins.
It was pretty intense. It was long hours, long hours. Usually the searches would go on from, say, 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning until dark.
Most of them did not know Tara. They had never met Tara. And you've got hundreds of strangers coming to search for this beautiful person that has vanished.
Despite the massive effort, none of the searches come up with any evidence related to Tara's disappearance.
It makes you feel helpless because, you want to solve these problems and, you want to catch the bad guy. There's one involved.
The one thing good that came out that we didn't find her, was what it gave us hope, of course, that she was still alive.
With the search effort yielding no leads, the latex glove found in Tara's yard looms as a piece of potentially critical evidence. Since it was recovered, forensic tests have been ongoing, but agents are circumspect.
We weren't real hopeful that we would be able to retrieve meaningful DNA or fingerprint evidence from it, but we had to try. So once we obtained the glove, we took it to the GBI crime lab in Atlanta.
Forensic scientists put the glove through a battery of tests, including one looking for the presence of DNA. It's a long shot, because according to police, it's very difficult to recover useful evidence from latex gloves.
If you process for fingerprints first, it will destroy DNA evidence. If you process for DNA evidence, you may destroy or somehow cause problems with the fingerprint evidence. They basically cut it up based on the probability of which section of the glove would reveal which type of evidence and processed it accordingly.
We all watch TV, and on CSI, they do the DNA, and, we know everything within 30 minutes, but, it's weeks and weeks and weeks to get results back. And, it's very frustrating to just, sit and wait.
Despite the long odds, investigators hit the jackpot.
we were able to recover both fingerprint evidence and DNA evidence.
The fingerprints found on the glove are only partial prints, limiting their use in the investigation.
Fortunately, we also had DNA on the glove, male DNA.
Thanks to the DNA evidence, GBI agents finally have a powerful lead in Tara's disappearance.
The DNA evidence lets us know that a male was at Tara's house and either wearing or had a glove in their possession.
Coming up, police look for a DNA match, believing that person may be responsible for Tara's disappearance.
We began swabbing pretty much any associate of Tara's that we came across.
And later,
Volunteers are back searching for Tara Grinstead.
the news media descends on Ocilla, potentially compromising the investigation.
When you lose control of the flow of information, you don't know what you lost.
Get more Disappeared online at investigation.discovery.com. The investigation into Tara Grinstead's disappearance has been in full force for 10 days. Investigators recovered DNA evidence from the latex glove found at Tara's residence, suggesting that an unknown male was on Tara's property during the time she disappeared.
We knew that we were looking for a male potential offender. So at that point, we ensured that we obtained DNA samples from most everyone we could associate with Tara.
She met hundreds of people every day, and she was such a personable person and smiled, and she would introduce herself to anybody.
Any male that came in contact with Tara, whether it was at her high school, at one of the colleges she went to, there's very few people that I know that they haven't swabbed.
Agents collect the DNA of 144 men that had any contact with Tara, no matter how distant.
Essentially, all you do is take a swab of the inside of someone's cheek and submit that swab for comparison against the questioned DNA. In our case, the DNA from the glove.
But when the samples of DNA are compared, there is no match with any of Tara's male associates. Investigators find no match with the National DNA Database either.
We've investigated everyone that we know of that was closely associated with Tara, and we can't find anything to indicate that any of them are responsible for her disappearance.
But investigators can't eliminate any of the men in Tara's life either. They might have had an accomplice whose DNA was left on the glove.
Maybe someone was involved in moving Tara's body. Maybe someone was involved in cleaning up, whatever evidence may have been at her residence before we arrived.
The lack of conclusive evidence frustrates investigators. Although each of Tara's close male associates provide credible alibis, none can account for every minute of their time during the 34 hours between when Tara was last seen and when she was discovered missing.
It's difficult for anyone to account for every hour of every day and provide an alibi for that. There are times that they're alone and nobody knows exactly what they're doing.
Because so much is unknown, investigators still need to consider all possibilities surrounding Tara's disappearance.
She left on her own, that she was trying to make some point to resolve one of her relationships, that any of these people that we encountered in the first day or days thereafter could have gotten into an altercation with her, or that there could be just a random offender out there that saw Tara as a crime of opportunity. Nothing was beyond the possibility, and nothing is. So as much as we'd love to clear people, say that they had no involvement, we're unable to do so because we don't know what happened to Tara.
As time drags on and Tara isn't found, investigators face an unexpected new challenge.
Turning our attention now to the case of that missing Georgia high school teacher, Tara Grinstead.
Volunteers are back searching for Tara Grinstead.
Growing attention from the national news media makes a sensitive investigation difficult to manage.
The entire interior of the residence and exterior was being broadcast as newscaster after newscaster toured the residence, videoed it, and put it on the air.
Your possible crime scene is all of a sudden exposed to the national media. That's just something that law enforcement isn't used to having happen.
According to both Ocilla Police and the GBI, confidential details of their investigation are reported by the news media without their knowledge or consent.
Things that were in the residence that we might have used to trip up somebody in an interview was gone.
Investigators never wanted their discovery of the latex glove to become public knowledge, but it did.
Once it became public, anyone that we interviewed that may have been responsible for Tara's disappearance and was the one that left that glove knew we had it. You might think that he had dropped it somewhere else, or may not even realize he'd left a glove behind at all.
Equally troubling, private citizens set up tip lines, but sometimes neglect to share information with law enforcement.
One well-known tip line was actually going to the cell phone of a bounty hunter. What information may have been lost because of that, I can't imagine. When you lose control of the flow of information, you don't know what you lost.
The sometimes intrusive media coverage also stokes the fires of accusation.
With all the media attention, there were a lot of armchair sleuths all over the country that were contacting us and some conducting their own investigation.
One website, called Backward State, goes so far as to present excerpts from one of GBI agent Gary Rothwell's television interviews, played backwards. The amateur sleuth claims that the interview audio played in reverse reveals hidden clues about the people responsible for Tara's disappearance.
I was identifying the true offender, and all you had to do was play my interview backwards. It was amazing.
Then, perhaps due to the media blitz, several new tips promising information into Tara's disappearance come in.
I got a phone call and was told that there had been a fire not too far out of town. And they said, I don't want to upset you, but I just need to prepare you. There is a chance that it could be connected to Tara.
There was a residence a few miles from Ocilla where a house burned and a vehicle burned. There were some theories developed that that arson was used to cover up evidence of Tara's abduction.
GBI agents and support personnel go to the burned-out house to investigate.
We headed to that scene as fast as possible, coordinating, having appropriate personnel to process it.
Anytime there's burned bodies or the remains of something are found, it's the first thing that goes through my mind, is it her?
But the search effort yields nothing.
Nothing at the arson scene was found that could be associated with Tara.
In the beginning, every time what sounded like a viable tip would come in, we would immediately think, this is it. After the first probably 2 or 3 times then that happened, you learn to be guarded in your optimism.
Over the next few months, more tips come in, but none bring investigators any closer to finding Tara.
There's been many times when we had what we call he ain't right moments, where we've encountered people in this investigation that their behaviors didn't seem appropriate. That's happened lots of times. Unfortunately, we haven't found evidence to support those feelings. Most of the time, we found evidence completely to the contrary.
Three years go by without any meaningful leads. Then, there is a bizarre development in the case.
I've decided to confess a few things. I've decided to do it on YouTube because there's millions of people that could help play my game.
With his face and voice digitally distorted, a man calling himself the Catch Me Killer posts an anonymous video online.
I want to confess to 16 murders. But in order to do so, I'm going to give everybody a clue. Many clues.
He claimed that he was a serial killer. He claimed that he had murdered 16 people, and he alluded to the fact that Tara was one of them.
The video doesn't refer to Tara by name, but cites details that clearly identify her, including the date of her disappearance.
He claimed that he had slit her throat, and he made reference to her screams into the night and said something about, but my blade, she could not fight. It was just horrible things that he said.
It was almost a sickening feeling to have an individual get up there and say those kind of things.
The GBI quickly launches an investigation to identify and apprehend the man claiming to have murdered Tara Grinstead.
Here we have a guy who's basically claiming that he's killed a woman we've been looking for 4 years. We had to find him.
Coming up, investigators zero in on the Catch Me killer.
We executed search warrants on the basis that Tara was a victim of a crime and that he was the perpetrator. We were looking for evidence of her disappearance and possible murder.
By February 2009, Tara Grinstead has been missing for almost 3.5 years. There are still no suspects in her disappearance. But now, a man calling himself the Catch Me killer posts an anonymous video online. With his voice and likeness digitally obscured, he claims to have killed 16 people, including Tara Grinstead.
Once all 16 bodies are found, you'll know exactly who I am, because I have knowledge that the police know about, the FBI know about, but you don't.
Investigators note that the Catch Me killer appears to possess intimate knowledge of Tara's life.
He described Tara's occupation, Tara's participation in beauty pageants, locations on Highway 32, which ran right through Ocilla, Georgia. There was no question he was talking about Tara.
I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, just hanging on every minute for information. I thought, you know, this is what we've been waiting for, and this is going to be the answer. We're going to finally know what happened to her.
Officials from several agencies join forces to track down the self-confessed killer. Agents get search warrants in order to locate the computer used to post the video.
What we did is ultimately traced the posting of that YouTube video to a couple of locations in Gainesville, Georgia, in Hall County, Georgia.
Investigators identify the man behind the video as Andrew Scott Haley. They raid his home and other locations in Georgia and seize his computer, camera, and writings. Within hours, they determine that Haley's video confession is a hoax.
He thought it was just a game, and he thought he could dupe people, and he somehow took pleasure in doing that. I don't think he gave any consideration to the harm that he was causing the victims' families and others that cared about Tara.
I still cannot understand what this person must have said to himself every day to justify what he was doing and to tell himself that it was okay. This was not a teenage prank. This was a grown, married man with children of his own.
Haley is found guilty of felony tampering with evidence and making false statements, and sentenced to 10 years in prison. As a first offender, he'll serve just 2 years in a work-release jail. Today, the Grinstead case file is the Georgia Bureau of Investigation's biggest active case. Finding Tara still hinges on making a DNA match to the latex glove found outside her home.
It's almost amazing that we haven't gotten a hit yet. If someone is responsible for Tara's disappearance, it's highly likely we haven't talked to them yet.
Investigators still believe the case will eventually be solved.
We have evidence. We have DNA evidence. We have fingerprint evidence. It's not like we have nothing. We have a lot of information. We just don't know what it all means.
In the meantime, Tara's family and friends continue to wait.
Is she gone? Is she dead? When you just don't know any answers, you don't have a way of controlling your emotions.
It's a horrible situation for anybody to have to go through. It's worse than death. Death is final. Someone vanishing, it's not final until you find them.
You see how hurt these people are at the loss or disappearance of their loved one, and you want to put an end to that.
I've never experienced anything like that. I do have girls of my own. I just can't imagine what it would feel like if one of those were in a situation like Tara.
With Tara missing now for more than 5 years, her family is desperate for closure on their tragedy.
I just feel like her family deserves the truth. Anybody's family deserves to know the truth.
We wanted to believe and still believe that somebody out there has the information that we're looking for, and for whatever reason has just not found the courage to come forward with it.
We're at the point now where we used to pray that we wouldn't find her. Now we're afraid we won't, and we pray that we will, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of, what we find.
Roxanne Paltoff disappeared on Friday, July 7th, 2006. When a person disappears without a trace, often the most critical information is hidden in their actions and words from the days before they vanished. Roxanne Paltoff's last known whereabouts may hold the clues to what happened to her. A teenage girl leaves a motel one summer night and never returns.
She left her phone, she left her debit card, she left her purse behind, and I knew at that moment something was wrong and my daughter was in danger.
Could the items she left behind hold clues to her disappearance?
I know Roxanne's clothing. I've never seen these clothes. It wasn't even Roxanne's size.
I thought, okay, this guy's got her ID and we're gonna find Roxanne.
Or will the results of DNA tests reveal what really happened?
And I was just bawling my eyes out, thinking, oh my God, this is Roxanne. They actually found her.
July 3rd, 2006. It's a humid Monday morning in Austin, Texas. 18-year-old Roxanne Paltoff is looking forward to the July 4th holiday. This Independence Day marks her and her boyfriend Lewis's 2-year anniversary. And after the fireworks, they're planning on spending time together in a local motel. She returns home to pick up some additional belongings.
She came in the house, rushed in, and she goes, I'll be home in a couple of days. And I said, okay, and I said, just, call me. And what she did, always, she called me every day.
Roxanne is the much-loved oldest daughter of Liz Harris's 5 children.
Roxanne had a beautiful smile. She had a wonderful personality. She had a very good heart. She would give you the shirt off her back.
Mama, come down here.
Go ahead, Roxanne.
Come down here with me.
I will.
Together. Roxanne,
Roxanne, jump way out. See rocks right there. Go hit them. Full of life. She loved her brothers and sisters. She would do anything for them.
We went to the same high school, and everybody knew Roxanne, and they knew us because of Roxanne. We were the Paltoff girls. She was a big sister. She was the one that everybody looked up to.
After some difficult years in high school, Roxanne has become a hard worker with new ambitions.
She started doing her GED, and they had a program where they help you find work, and she got a job as an intern at a florist shop. She was growing up, becoming a young woman, making her own money, meeting new people.
She came in and applied for a job here. She was interested in floral design, and she really blossomed into this beautiful designer, very creative, really talented girl who got along with all of the employees very well.
She had everything lined up. She worked so hard to get where she was. She was back on track. She had got back into school. She wanted to get things right. She wanted to make her mom proud.
On the afternoon of Friday, July 7th, Roxanne calls her mother and asks to spend one more night with her boyfriend, Louis. Roxanne's mom's not thrilled, but knows Roxanne's having a good time swimming and sunbathing before school and work resume on Monday.
And I told her that we're going shopping, and I said, why don't you just come on home and we can leave early in the morning. She goes, no, we're already here. No, I'm just gonna stay the night, and I promise I'll be home early in the morning. We'll go shopping. I was disappointed, you know, you're choosing Louis over your family. I said, okay, fine, be that way, Roxanne. I just had like a little attitude, you know. But she loved him. I mean, that's it, you know, you want to spend time with the ones you love.
Roxanne's mother often thinks back to that conversation and wishes it had gone differently. She also wishes she had listened to her instincts and told Roxanne to just come home that day.
That was actually the last words I said to her before she disappeared, and I've always felt guilty about that.
By noon Saturday, Liz Harris is still waiting for her daughter to come home. She tells herself that Roxanne will walk in at any moment and flash her vibrant smile. But the minutes tick by, and there is still no sign of Roxanne.
We waited around for her, but I don't think we tried calling her. We just thought she just discussed that she was spending time with her boyfriend.
I wasn't gonna stop our plans just because she didn't make it here. You know, she would have made it home eventually. I'm not gonna go calling her and say, where are you? We just went on out to the outlet mall and spent several hours out there. And it was gonna be a family adventure, you know. Mom don't have money very often, so let's go shopping, you know.
When they get home later that day, Roxanne's mother, Liz, and her family get a call, but it's not from Roxanne.
Louis called me. It was late afternoon, and he had asked me, have you seen Roxanne? And then I said, what do you mean, have I seen Roxanne? She's been with you. Where's Roxanne?
Louis tells Liz Harris that he hasn't seen her daughter since 8:30 p.m. the previous night.
Well, you told me that they had an argument. She was pissed off because they're arguing over an old girlfriend or something. Roxanne just walked out, and he said that he tried to go out and, you know, beg her to come back into the hotel room, and she refused to do that. He went out about 20 minutes later, it was where he last saw her.
Everything I do
she was nowhere around. He said he searched for it, couldn't find her. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be. He says he had her purse, and he had her cell phone, and he had her clothing. She left the hotel room with just her clothes on her back and her shoes, and that was it.
That can erase all the past and the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness.
Sounded like he was concerned. I knew at that moment the mother instinct that I knew something was wrong and my daughter was in danger.
Coming up, police investigate Roxanne's boyfriend and uncover disturbing information.
Roxanne had disclosed that she was scared of him.
Roxanne Paltoff and her boyfriend Louis Walls have been celebrating their 2-year anniversary together in Austin, Texas. But according to Louis, after an argument, Roxanne leaves the motel where they had intended to stay the night and doesn't return. The next day, after missing a planned shopping trip with her family, warning bells immediately go off for Roxanne's mother when Louis calls asking if she has seen Roxanne.
The main thing was that she was not with him, and she hadn't contacted me, and she was supposed to have been home that morning, and things were just going through my head. I just couldn't understand it in my mind why she hasn't called me. And then I found out that she didn't have her cell phone, and she didn't have no money on her, because she left her phone, she left her debit card, she left her purse.
It just didn't make any sense. If you were going to get mad and leave the motel, you would have took your stuff with you.
According to her mother, Roxanne and Louis have argued in the past, but there's something about her disappearing that deeply concerns her family and friends.
It was unusual that Roxanne didn't call home because she always called. She was responsible about keeping in touch with her family. She had a few close friends, but mainly it was her family.
When we first heard about it, we were like, oh my God, Roxanne's gone, we had to go find her.
Roxanne's family immediately heads to the motel in North Austin where she and Louis had been staying. It's in a rough neighborhood, known for drugs and prostitution.
I knew of Runberg. Runberg was the area that you knew you just kind of stayed away from. You know, it was a lot of unsavory people, people that you don't want to associate with. I think Roxanne should have known better than that area to be in.
I didn't particularly know that the hotel she was staying at with Louis was that bad. And it was like the cheapest hotel in the area. That's why they picked it.
And I'd show people pictures, telling them my daughter's missing, I'm trying to find her. And nobody had ever seen her. They didn't know who she was. Louis and I kept calling back each other that night. And I told him, look, we both need to call the police.
They both call 911. And 3 days after she is last heard from, the Austin Police Department's Missing Persons Unit starts its investigation into the case of Roxanne Paltoff.
Her mother had called and reported her missing, and also Louis Walls, who was her boyfriend, called and reported her missing. So at the onset, I mean, there was concern that where Roxanne went missing from, there's narcotics, prostitution, and B, Roxanne's not the type of person to be missing for an extended period of time without making contact, especially with her mother.
Police turn their attention on the motel. They arrive ready to begin their investigation, but finding a scene to investigate proves problematic.
There were some bookkeeping errors that didn't allow us to ascertain who was in what room, if you will, or even how many tenants were at that hotel, as well as their identities. A lot of the rooms at that hotel that may show to be vacant on paper actually have subjects in them.
According to the motel booking sheet, Roxanne Paltoff had stayed in room 217. Police aren't sure whether the information is accurate, but decide to check it out anyway.
It was very clear upon going to that room that there was going to be no physical evidence available. I think it was roughly 5 to 6 days after her disappearance. The room that she was supposedly in had already been, of course, cleaned 3 or 4 times. Someone else had stayed in it. It was an unsecured scene for too long. Too many people had gone through it.
Next, the police focus their efforts on the area around the motel, talking to people who might have seen or heard something.
The area of Runberg and 35 is essentially a high crime area. So a lot of the possible witnesses are already involved in some type of criminal activity and therefore would decline to speak with me.
After initially making contact with the police, Roxanne's boyfriend Lewis has recently stopped returning calls. Investigators believe he can shed critical light on the case, since he was the last person to see Roxanne.
We knew we needed to speak to Lewis quickly.
But Roxanne's mother does hear from Lewis. He shows up to return her daughter's belongings 5 days after she went missing.
And he handed me the cell phone. And then I went through her purse. She had some rings in there. She had a toothbrush, her driving book. She had her debit card in there, no ID, and maybe a little bit of makeup. That was all.
Lewis also returns a bag of clothing, but on closer inspection, her family realizes the clothes aren't Roxanne's.
We went through it, and it was clothes I've never in my life seen. And I know Roxanne's clothing, and I've never seen these clothes. What I thought was strange, it wasn't even Roxanne's size. It was like way too small. It was like kid sizes.
I told Lewis, these are not Roxanne's clothes. He goes, well, I just gathered them up off the floor and put them in a bag. I thought they were hers.
In the days following Roxanne's disappearance, the police continue their efforts to speak to Lewis. Roxanne's family feels compelled to go back to the area around the motel. They're hoping to find someone who saw Roxanne leave the Budget Inn on the night of July 7th.
You just search that residential area, the abandoned houses, the ditches, the gullies and the drain storms, dumpsters. Knock on people's doors. Have you seen my daughter? Have to tell them the story. You know, my daughter's missing, I'm looking for it.
Their search comes up empty. They decide to zero in on Roxanne's cell phone, thinking it might contain clues. They request her phone records and turn them over to police.
There was over 300 phone calls, page after page after page of phone calls from various places, and then there were like a minute apart, a second apart. You know, it was just a constant calling on her phone.
One number is of particular interest.
There were several phone calls made from Roxanne's phone after she disappeared that were to Lewis's ex-girlfriend in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Police contact the ex-girlfriend and learn disturbing things about Lewis.
She did indicate that Lewis had told her he was in some trouble. He needed to come out there to New Mexico to get away. She declined to have him come to New Mexico. She informed us that she's scared of Lewis, that they had a violent past history together.
Roxanne's family has never been very comfortable with her relationship with Lewis.
He didn't really say much. Whenever I met him, he didn't try to get to know us. Wasn't really friendly, quiet, kind of awkward.
Lewis, he was not allowed to come over to my house. I disapproved of him. You know, no job, no future. Roxanne's running to him all the time. She was trying to go further in her life, and he was just trying to pull her down. And I saw that as a mother.
From the beginning, Roxanne's friends believed that she and Lewis had a volatile relationship.
Roxanne's mother drove by a bus stop and just happened to find Roxanne. She had a busted up nose, so Elizabeth took her straight to the emergency room. And at the time, she had told everybody that she fell or something of that sort, that it was an accident. And then one time during a conversation with her and I, it did come up that he had hit her hard enough in the face, a straight punch, that he broke her nose and she had to have reconstructive surgery on her nose.
We have statements from Roxanne's friends indicating that Roxanne had disclosed to them that Lewis had struck her in the past and that Lewis was very violent when he was angry, and that she indeed was scared of him at times.
Investigators look at the big picture, Lewis's past and the fact that he and Roxanne apparently argued shortly before she went missing, and step up their interest in him.
Anytime someone comes and tells you, I had an argument with someone and now they're missing and I was the last person to see them. I have a violent background. I have a history of being abusive towards the women I date. Lewis was a suspect pretty much immediately.
The police run a background check on Lewis Walls.
Lewis had a series of involvements in small crimes and a conviction for a felony delivery of a controlled substance.
I did not know that he spent time in prison. And I was furious, you know, why is she with this guy that's got this criminal record?
Lewis's police record also reveals personal details that he had previously chosen not to disclose.
When Roxanne and Lewis first met, she was 16 and he was 18 or 19. After she went missing is when we found out his real age. When she was 16, he was really 28.
It was scary, you know, what kind of elements has she gotten herself into?
Roxanne had never been in trouble herself, but her friends and family often worried that she could easily fall in with the wrong crowd.
I think she was gullible. She believed in people. Everybody told the truth. Everybody's nice. Nobody's gonna hurt her. You know, she didn't, I don't think, really understood how the world works out there.
She thought she was invincible sometimes. It was just, nobody's gonna do anything to me. It's not gonna happen, you know, and I'm with him, so I'm safe.
What I learned about Roxanne just in talking, especially with her family and her closest friends, is Roxanne played a real good tough girl role, but Roxanne was not savvy. She was not a streetwise person.
Since Roxanne's disappearance 5 days earlier, Lewis Walls has become increasingly harder to contact. Police step up the search to find him, but he continues to be an elusive witness.
We made several requests for Lewis to come in and give us a statement. He declined to come to the police station. We attempted to meet him at places, but he was unavailable. Lewis repeatedly told us that, you know, I've already told you all I know over the phone. I don't know why you need to talk to me in person. He felt like we were trying to put this on him.
Almost 2 weeks after Roxanne's disappearance, Lewis finally agrees to a face-to-face meeting with police.
I went and I picked Lewis up and I brought him in, and he sat down and talked to us. He didn't want to answer any open-ended questions that required, I guess, a lengthy answer on exactly how things unfolded. When we talked to him about the phone calls that were made, yeah, he was mad at Roxanne for walking off, so he called other girls, he flirted with other girls, he called his ex-girlfriend. He indicated, you know, Roxanne understood that. He downplayed the boyfriend-girlfriend role.
Lewis denies any involvement in Roxanne's disappearance. While being questioned, he says there's someone who can confirm that he was still in the motel when Roxanne went missing. A motel employee who maintains that she was with Lewis for the rest of that night.
The young lady indicated that she did see Roxanne leave the hotel and that Lewis was walking behind her, and then Lewis did turn and go back to the room. She did admit that later in the night, she did go to the room and spend some time there with Lewis, and that she left approximately 3 o'clock in the morning.
Based on the phone records, which indicate Lewis made calls between 8:30 p.m. and midnight, and the witness who says she was with Lewis from 10:30 p.m. to 3 in the morning, most of Lewis's time is accounted for.
The subject also indicated that the room was not in disarray. Roxanne's belongings were in the room. Everything seemed to be in order.
But before the police get a chance to polygraph the witness, the case takes an unexpected turn. A man is brought in for questioning in Austin, and he has Roxanne's ID in his wallet. Coming up, the mystery surrounding Roxanne's disappearance deepens.
I think there was some question as to whether she might have been involved in prostitution and/or drugs.
No one has seen 18-year-old Roxanne Paltoff in over a week. Her boyfriend maintains that after they had an argument, she left the motel where they were staying and didn't return. Her friends and family are deeply troubled.
I just couldn't understand it in my mind why she hasn't called me. You know, this was strange. Why hasn't she picked that phone up? And then I found out that she didn't have her cell phone and she didn't have no money on her, because she left her phone, she left her debit card, she left her purse.
Searches around the motel area yield no new clues. Roxanne's boyfriend, Lewis Walls, presents a witness from the motel. But before police check out the story, there is a surprising development. 10 days after Roxanne's disappearance, her ID is discovered in the police department's Lost and Found. But how had it come into police possession?
Shortly after Roxanne disappeared, there was a disturbance call at a hotel near the Budget Inn.
A woman there alleges that a man has attempted to sexually assault her in a motel bedroom.
Officers responding to that call encountered a female victim who had been assaulted and stated that the suspect had just left the scene.
But the suspect leaves behind his wallet.
During the course of their investigation at the scene, the suspect returned to the scene.
The man, Jeffrey Moore, is detained and questioned.
No charges were brought. There was an uncooperative victim who declined to press charges, but the patrol officer did discover in this suspect's wallet was Roxanne's identification card.
The officer confiscates Roxanne's ID, but no one knows it belongs to a missing person at the time, because the police do not run a check on it until 4 days later.
When the person who is in charge of mailing back IDs entered the name into the database, of course, Roxanne came up as a missing person. And we were immediately contacted and told that Jeffrey Moore had been in possession of Roxanne's ID.
Investigators are eager to learn more about Jeffrey Moore and how he happened to have Roxanne's ID.
We ran a background check on Jeffrey Moore and did show that he had involvement in criminal activity. However, there were no convictions.
Police track Moore down, and they conduct a telephone interview with the help of an interpreter, because Moore is deaf.
He indicated that he had given Roxanne a ride, her and Lewis, the day before Roxanne had disappeared.
Police contact Lewis Walls, who confirms that he and Roxanne did get a ride with Jeffrey Moore the day before Roxanne went missing.
Lewis Walls did indicate that they had gone to the store to buy cigarettes, so Roxanne had had her ID with her, and that she very well could have lost it in the car.
But police say Walls and Moore don't agree on the route they took.
Jeffrey Moore tells me that the ride was from downtown Austin to the Runberg 35 area. Lewis Walls tells me that it's from a Walgreen that is already in the Runberg 35 area back to their hotel.
This is the first inconsistency police note between Lewis Walls and Jeffrey Moore's stories. And they say Moore's account has its own contradictions.
Mr. Moore, in his initial interview on the other assault case, he indicated that Roxanne was a close friend of his, and he would like to retain the ID so that he may give it back to her in person. Then in an interview with me much later, Mr. Moore indicated that he didn't know Roxanne and that he'd only met her one time. Jeffrey Moore has a plausible reason for having that card, but there's a lot of inconsistencies in both stories. Obviously, they can't both be telling the truth.
Roxanne's family is told that at one point, Moore claimed to be a good friend of Roxanne's, but this is news to them.
Roxanne never mentioned having a friend named Jeffrey Moore. She would have had a friend that was deaf. She would have told us. We would have known about him. We knew her friends. We knew who she hung out with.
Unable to confirm Lewis Walls and Jeffrey Moore's stories, police have nothing to go on.
I mean, I was disappointed because I thought, okay, this guy's got her ID and we're gonna find Roxanne, and that wasn't it.
Police finally polygraphed the woman from the motel who said she was with Lewis the night Roxanne disappeared. She passes, and his alibi checks out. Without enough evidence, the police are left with no leads to pursue, only questions about why Roxanne went missing. One thing starts to become clear to them. She didn't vanish on her own volition.
Roughly 10 days into the case is when it started developing for me that, okay, this person is what we refer to as involuntarily missing. In other words, I don't think that Roxanne is voluntarily absent. I didn't see any of the precursors for runaways or people who intend to be long-term missing. It was not the kind of life that someone would wish to escape.
With Roxanne now missing for 2 weeks, each passing day brings more despair for Roxanne's family.
When it gets silent, it gets eerie, because you just feel like this is the way it's going to be for the rest of my life. We're not going to have no more tips. Roxanne's lost, and nobody cares, and she's just a memory. I started gathering pictures up, her perfume bottle, crosses, just pictures, notes. I just started putting a place together. I believe it was on Roxanne's birthday. It was a birthday present to her. It's a place that I can go to, cry, pray, talk to her. Something I see every day when I come and go.
The family also has to contend with rumors and speculation about Roxanne.
It really hurt me, like, going back to school and just having a bunch of just kids, mean kids, saying their opinion, like, do you really think she's a prostitute? People had no right to come up to me or my siblings saying what they were saying.
I think there was some question as to whether she might have been involved in prostitution and or drugs. More a function of where she disappeared from, because a lot of the street activity and criminal activity in that area is related to prostitution and drugs. But do I think that she actually engaged in any activities like that? I just don't. I don't believe so. It just doesn't fit with the kind of girl she was.
Roxanne wasn't a prostitute. She wasn't an addict. She wasn't the type of person that would normally be in that area. Roxanne, I think, had no problem with being in that area because she felt safe with Lewis Walls. I can't find an instance in Roxanne's life that she was in the Runberg and 35 area that Lewis Walls wasn't with her.
Finally, after almost 3 weeks, there's a break in the investigation. The remains of a girl are found near a highway intersection in southeast Austin.
It was, this is it. They found Roxanne's body. This is her. Oh my God, my daughter's dead. What happened to her?
Coming up, the agony as Roxanne's family wait for DNA results.
I was just bawling my eyes out, thinking, oh my God, this is Roxanne. They actually found her. What am I gonna do?
Get more Disappeared online at investigationdiscovery.com. It's been almost 3 weeks since Roxanne Paltoff disappeared in a seedy area of Austin, Texas. The case was at a standstill until a call comes in to the Austin Police Missing Persons Unit that could change everything.
The police department received a call that human remains had been discovered in the southeast section of Austin. I thought it could be Roxanne.
The police called me and asked me for Roxanne's dental records.
For over 3 harrowing weeks, the Paltoff family waits to see if the DNA from the remains matches Roxanne, never dreaming their lives would include this kind of surreal and terrifying experience.
It hit me hard. I remember being on the phone with my mother, and I was just bawling my eyes out, thinking, oh my God, this is Roxanne. They actually found her. What am I gonna do, Mom? How am I supposed to deal with this?
After a tense wait, the police received the DNA results.
It was discovered that it was indeed not Roxanne.
It was just a very traumatic moment, and it was such a relief. It was such a low that it happened, but it was such a high that it wasn't Roxanne.
Roxanne's family refuses to give up hope. In March 2007, Liz Harris enlists the help of a local advertising agency.
I think I'd seen a billboard on a TV show or on the computer when I was searching missing persons, and I saw a billboard and I wanted a billboard.
The billboard goes up in March 2007, a block away from the Budget Inn where Roxanne was last seen.
The billboard is a big blessing. She's up there 24/7. Thousands of people go down 35 or different areas of town. So she's not forgotten, she's not put away. Her sign is out there, and they see Roxanne. That helps a whole lot.
Over 200 people report having seen Roxanne in Austin, alive.
Elizabeth has a number on the billboard that will go to her. Every tip that is relayed directly to me so that I can follow up. And all those leads have to be tracked down.
This guy called in, told me that he saw my daughter working at a bank in North Austin. So I found out where the bank was. One of the tellers, she looks similar to Roxanne.
Unfortunately, none of those hits give us any credible, concrete leads as to exactly what happened to Roxanne.
1 year later, as the mystery deepens, the case attracts the attention of local journalist Jordan Smith.
Her mother, Elizabeth Harris, had put flyers all over town looking for Roxanne, and you couldn't go anywhere without seeing them. And I was taken by this picture of this girl who seemed to go missing from very strange circumstances. One of the things that's just so tantalizing and so frustrating about Roxanne's case is that all the pieces are there. Nobody's being fully honest about what they know, I don't think, and that's just very frustrating.
And still no sign of Roxanne Paltoff. She was last seen 1 year ago today in North Austin. Today, her family and friends peppered that same area with flyers. They hope it's going to spark someone's memory, lead to new clues, and hopefully lead to Roxanne.
It flew by, to be honest. You couldn't believe that it was already a year without Roxanne. She was there for my birthday when I turned 15. And when I turned 16, she wasn't there. And she was the one who made the cakes, who went with my mom to buy us presents.
Coconut cake.
When that birthday came around, she wasn't there. That's when it like really hit home.
Seven months later, the police and Roxanne's grieving family get a solid break in the case. After a witness said Walls was with her the night of Roxanne's disappearance, police turned their focus away from him. But in March 2008, Walls is back on their radar.
Lewis Walls came back to the forefront of the investigation when his current girlfriend came forward and made the statement that Lewis Walls told her he would harm her and that he had killed a girl before.
Coming up, investigators zero in on who is responsible for Roxanne's disappearance.
I have 2 violent offenders. I suspect that one of them is hiding a murder.
It's been almost 2 years since Roxanne Paltoff vanished outside a motel in a rough area of Austin, Texas. In March 2008, police learned some disturbing news about Roxanne's boyfriend, Lewis Walls, that they think could move the case forward.
Lewis had gotten into an incident with a woman that he'd been dating who he has a child with. They had met to discuss some child support and child care issues, but instead of talking about that, he ended up threatening this young woman, also another young woman, significantly younger than he, and sort of whispering some things to her that, you know, if she didn't basically behave, that he would do to her what he'd done to Roxanne.
What he had said was that if she did not want to end up like that girl, Roxanne, that she needed to do what he wanted her to do.
If someone threatens harm and the threat is believable, it is viewed as a criminal act.
She had every reason to fear for her safety. Lewis admitting, hey, I killed Roxanne, and I'll do the same to you.
Lewis's girlfriend makes a statement to police and is granted a restraining order against him. Lewis is charged with making a terroristic threat and sentenced to 140 days in jail. While incarcerated, police interview Lewis about the claims that he killed Roxanne.
Lewis was very confrontational, and at the point of what he said, he repeatedly told me, I didn't say that, that's not what I said, she's lying. She's just trying to get back at me because I don't want to be with her anymore. She set me up. She just wanted me sent to jail. She had prior knowledge of his involvement with Roxanne's case and was trying to use that against him.
With Walls denying the comment and no solid evidence against him, police have nothing to go on. Over the course of the investigation, a friendship develops between Roxanne's mother, Liz Harris, and the lead detective on the case, James Scott.
Every Wednesday, I could expect, like clockwork, a call from Elizabeth saying, hey, you know, what's new?
At first, I used to say, this is Elizabeth Harris, Roxanne Paltoff's mother, but now we're just Elizabeth Harris. I hear his voice change immediately. It's not a voice of dread, oh God, here's that mother calling me. It's a voice of disappointment that he hasn't been able to find Roxanne, like he hasn't accomplished what he set out to do.
I try to keep her updated on what I'm doing. You build a relationship with the family. You know, I've met her family, she's met my family, you feel a frustration, a sense of loss. You want to give people that closure. You want to give them the answers they're looking for.
I truly believe in my heart that he is genuine about finding Roxanne and doing whatever it takes to find her.
She's a mother missing a child. She's never going to stop looking. And as a detective, how can I quit? As long as Roxanne's missing, I have to look for her.
Four years later, the Austin police get a call from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Skeletal remains have been found that match Roxanne's description.
Of course, the significance of Albuquerque, we do know that Lewis Walls made several phone calls to Albuquerque immediately after Roxanne's disappearance to call his ex-girlfriend.
Was it too much of a coincidence?
It was very significant, and it was, once again, another one of those hold-your-breath moments. This could be a huge break in this case. This could be finally some closure as far as where is Roxanne.
Detective Scott forwards Roxanne's dental records to the medical examiner in New Mexico, but this time chooses not to share the discovery with Roxanne's mother, Elizabeth.
Until I had a confirmation, I can't put myself in the position of causing her that grief. I don't think that's a roller coaster ride that she needs to go on.
After a week, the dental records show that the remains are not those of Roxanne.
I don't think at this point in time that there's really any hope that Roxanne will be found alive. It's just too late. She didn't call. All the things that would have indicated that she was alive are gone. And I think the reality that's set in for her family and friends is that not only is she gone and dead, but she was likely murdered. And the thing that remains is that they don't know what happened to her. Was she scared? Was she, did she suffer? Where is she? These are the things that haunt them, and they're the only pieces of Roxanne that are left.
At this point, I just don't want to find her, no matter what it takes, dead or alive.
This case is still an open and active missing persons case. What I'm left with now is I have two violent offenders, both involved in criminal activity, and both hiding criminal activity, but I suspect that one of them is hiding a murder.
Neither Lewis Walls nor Jeffrey Moore has ever been charged in connection to Roxanne's disappearance. Whatever happened to her remains a mystery.
Do I think Roxanne's fallen victim to foul play? Yes, I do. Do I know what that foul play is? I don't. But those are answers that I will certainly keep looking until I find them. Do I lay awake at night thinking about what's happened to Roxanne? Yeah, probably more nights than I like to imagine. Do I sometimes drive by the Budget Inn for no reason? Yeah, I do. I don't know who I'm going to see or what I hope to find. But it's very, very frustrating to know that I'm going to talk to, Elizabeth again, and I'm once again going to tell her, yeah, I don't have anything. I don't have anything new. I can't give you the closure that you need to know what happened to your daughter.
Roxanne's mother, Liz, still holds hope that one day the truth will be uncovered.
There's not a second in the day that I don't think about Roxanne. 4 years later, and I move forward as much as I can, but I'm still standing still because I'm still back 4 years ago and I'm still searching for her. And I just want my baby girl home. Her sisters and brother want her home. Coconut cake.
Who wants this plate? Well, I want a fork.
There's
There's a light that went off when she went away. And there was a hole in our hearts.
Nikki McCowan disappeared on Sunday, July 22nd, 2001. When a person disappears without a trace, often the most critical information is hidden in their actions and words from the days before they vanished. Nikki McCowan's last known whereabouts may hold the clues to what happened to her. A young woman with everything to live for
she's gonna marry the man of her dreams.
Vanishes from an ordinary laundromat.
Nobody has any answers as to where she went and what happened.
Turning a family's life upside down.
You're living a nightmare. You just wish you could wake up.
It never dawned in our wildest imaginations that we may not see this woman again.
The case stumps police.
The case goes cold on us. It just dries up.
Until an unsolved murder of a different woman offers clues.
It was an anonymous tip, and they just stated that we needed to look at him as a possible suspect.
Does someone know what happened to Nikki McCowan?
Until they can prove it to me, she's still alive to me.
July 22nd, 2001. It's a summer Sunday in Richmond, Indiana. And as usual, 28-year-old Nikki McCowan attends church with her fiancé, Bobby Webster. Their wedding is just 3 weeks away.
We're getting married August 18th and pretty much taking care of the final steps and stages to getting that taken care of.
Weeks earlier, Nikki McCowan was a bridesmaid at another wedding. A friend's camera captured the only known home video of Nikki.
Hi, Mia. Hi, Al. I just want to congratulate you and say I love you.
August 18th, Nikki was going to become Mrs. Robert Webster, and she was really, really looking forward to it.
She was thrilled. I mean, that's all she talked about. She finally had the man of her dreams.
Nikki McCowan and Bobby Webster had dated in high school. But they went their separate ways after he left for California in 1991. Nikki moved on to other relationships, and at 19, gave birth to a little girl she named Peyton.
She loved being a mother. Peyton's her world. She wanted Peyton to have the finer things in life, so she busted her butt.
To support Peyton and herself, Nikki worked for a correctional center in Dayton, Ohio.
She started out as just a guard, and from there she worked her way up to a head accountant. She really excelled in just about anything she went after.
She had long-term goals. Nikki wanted to be either an FBI agent or a U.S. Marshal. She was going to school. She was taking some criminal justice classes.
In 1998, Bobby Webster returned from California. Older and more mature, he decided Nikki was the woman for him, and he proposed marriage.
What attracted me to Nikki was her strong will. She knew what she wanted, and she went out and got the things that she did want, and her mind was made up before she even started.
Nikki's parents and her 9 siblings are thrilled.
This was the way it was supposed to be, you know. She was going to be happy.
That Sunday afternoon, in July of 2001, Nikki and Bobby busy themselves with wedding preparations and household chores.
I had made plans to go with my cousin, Billy, to get his tuxedo sized. And she took my vehicle and she took the laundry and she said she was gonna knock out the laundry while I was at the mall.
Around noon, Nikki heads to her parents to drop off her daughter Peyton before going to a nearby laundromat.
Last thing I said to Nikki was, I'll be back by 4 or 5 to do the wedding invitations that evening.
A few hours later, Nikki drops by her parents' house again, while her clothes are in the dryer. During this visit, Nikki seems agitated.
Something was really bugging her, like she couldn't throw it off. I kept saying, now calm down, Nikki, calm down, you're gonna be okay.
Nikki tells her mom that there are some men hassling her down at the laundromat.
And I said, well, Nikki, if it's troubling you that much, my washer and dryer is downstairs. Just go get your clothes and bring them here and finish drying them down there. She said, I'll be okay, Mom.
Minutes later, Nikki leaves her parents to return to the laundromat.
She said, I'll be back, Mom. And I said, okay, and that's it.
When Bobby returns from the tuxedo store later that afternoon, Nikki is not yet home.
I didn't see the laundry there or my truck. She kicks her sandals off at the doorway. And I think that's the first thing I noticed, her sandals weren't there, but, you know, I just figured that I'd gotten home before she did.
2 hours later, Nikki still hasn't returned. Bobby begins to worry.
The time I thought something may be wrong was between 6 and 7 with no phone call or anything. And then from that point, it went to another hour. There's been no word.
Around 6:30 p.m., Nikki's sister Michelle is visiting another sister, Tammy.
She asked me if I seen Nikki. I said, no, I ain't seen Nikki. Why? What's wrong? She was like, Bobby's been calling, looking around for her. He can't find her. I was like, oh, she's probably out shopping or something.
When Nikki is late to pick up her daughter Peyton, her mother assumes she's at work.
I just said, oh, she's all right. I said, you know how Nikki sometimes, just on the spur of the moment, will jump in her car and go over to Ohio because she worked there.
At the apartment where Nikki lives with Bobby and Peyton, there are no signs that her absence is anything more than temporary. Her essentials are still on her bedside table.
She left her purse, her ID, her clothes was all there. There was nothing missing outside of the laundry that she took with her to go to the laundry.
As night falls and Nikki fails to return, the McCowans become increasingly anxious.
Everybody seemed a little concerned, but the last thing we would think that she was missing.
But by 10 p.m., Nikki's fiance senses that something is very wrong.
The first thing within my mind is something has happened as far as a vehicle accident or something like that.
We drove to Dayton to see if she might have been stuck or she didn't have a cell phone or anything, way to call nobody.
The family checks along the highway, but there is no sign of Nikki. By 2 a.m., the McCowans are racked with worry.
Everybody seemed really, really concerned. It seemed like it was really starting to hit everybody at that time.
Nikki's father insists the family go to police immediately and fill out a missing persons report.
When he did that, I knew something was up because he was always the one that says, out of all my kids, this is the one I know can handle anything.
But now, in the space of a single Sunday afternoon, the McCowans' world has been thrown into chaos.
My head got to spinning. Where is Nikki?
Coming up, suspicion focuses on someone close to Nikki.
There wasn't any question that he was being deceitful or lying.
On Sunday, July 22nd, 2001, 28-year-old bride-to-be Nikki McCowan disappears from a laundromat in Richmond, Indiana.
She loved life. She lived it to the fullest.
It never dawned in our wildest imaginations that we may not see this woman again. I mean, that was the last thing to cross our mind.
It's the day after Nikki disappeared. Her family has filed a missing persons report. But initially, police see no reason to be concerned.
There were no phone calls indicating any trouble. There were no indicators that any harm had come to her.
That afternoon, Nikki's family locates a surveillance video taken at a deli near the laundromat.
The village pantry did show her stopping in. I think she may have purchased a Coke or something. At that moment, nothing seemed out of the ordinary.
The video adds to the police's impression that nothing is wrong.
We can see her car sitting on the lot, and then we see her leaving, and no one following her.
Earlier that Sunday afternoon, Nikki told her mother she'd been hassled at the laundromat. Police checked, but no one remembers seeing anything.
They had no information that was any altercations outside the laundromat. Nothing really raised red flags on it.
Police instead speculate that Nikki may have voluntarily left her fiancé.
We thought, well, okay, were they fighting, were they arguing, or does she have cold feet and just decide that, hey, you know, I'm taking off.
The members of Nikki's family disagree. They don't believe Nikki would willfully disappear.
She wouldn't let me think I knew this wasn't her. And she wanted this wedding so bad, so why would she walk away from it?
Nikki's sister decides to make her job the test.
I knew she didn't miss work. Work was Nikki's life.
If Nikki doesn't show up at the Montgomery Pre-Release Center in Dayton, then something awful has happened.
They buzzed me in, and I came in, said, have she showed up for work yet? They said, no, we haven't seen Nikki. At that moment, I broke down. I started crying my eyes out. Oh my God, what's happened to Nikki?
I went outside and I just started walking the yard. And I said, where's she at, Lord? And I kept saying, Lord, just bring her home. I don't know where she's at, but just bring her home.
Immediately, the family hits the road in search of Nikki.
We were looking, searching, knocking on doors everywhere that we think she may have gone.
We passed off flyers, trying to get some attention for Nikki so we could get some
vehicle. Despite the lack of physical leads, police soon hone in on a possible suspect. It's the man Nikki was planning to marry. In the days after Nikki's disappearance, Bobby Webster's actions strike investigators as suspicious. The day after she goes missing, he calls the community college where Nikki was taking classes and wants to collect her unused tuition money.
Right off the bat, he calls the college and is wanting all of her college money. He gets so irate with the person he talks to on the phone, lady that's in charge of the financing talks to him and tells him that she has no money, that her college is being paid by her employer. We find out that on Wednesday, he goes to the jewelry store and tries to take back the wedding rings that she had purchased for him.
By midweek, police say, Bobby Webster has canceled the wedding and demanded the deposit back. Word of Bobby's actions reaches Nikki's family.
He's talking about canceling the wedding, like he knew she wasn't coming back. Why would you cancel a wedding so fast? Nikki wanted to get married so bad, so why are you already automatically giving up on her?
Bobby denies canceling the wedding.
I never told anyone it was even canceled. But at that time, it's obvious the last thing on my mind is this wedding. I want Nikki, and then the wedding is second to that.
He also denies trying to wring money out of Nikki's college.
Yes, I inquired about her student loan, but I wasn't trying to get it.
The ring, he says, was returned for good reason.
I just wanted the deposit back to buy a cell phone because we didn't have one at the time, and there was so much running around involved. I just thought that might be a tool that would help us.
Nevertheless, police ask Bobby Webster to take a polygraph test.
One of the questions that they ask him is, did you have anything to do with the disappearance of Nikki McCowan, or do you know anything about her disappearance? And he said no, and according to the polygraph operator, it about blew the needle off the chart, indicating that he was lying to us.
The question that we're asked was, do I feel responsible? Who isn't going to feel responsible for not being there to protect their woman if they think she was in a position where she needed help?
In spite of Bobby Webster's actions and the failed polygraph test, police do not arrest him.
We still have no evidence to link him to any crime.
There's no proof at this point that anything happened. They don't have any evidence to suggest that, you know, there was a murder, that anybody did anything that they shouldn't have to Nikki McCown.
All Richmond detectives can do is label Nikki's fiancé a person of interest.
The person of interest, by definition, is someone who is able to give police information that could help them with a case.
He knows something more than what he's telling us, and it's a matter of trying to get him to talk.
I have no knowledge of anything that happened to my fiancée, Nikki McCowan, that day. Why would I want to do anything to the most wonderful person in my life?
Webster believes that the police's focus on him is using up valuable time in the investigation.
You can't get any further off the scene of the trail than now messing with me. I knew that. They didn't, but I did. So I kind of had doubts that they would even solve this case.
At this point in the investigation, detectives have no other significant leads in the case. As days turn into weeks, the lack of progress angers the members of Nikki's family.
The sisters or some of the brothers would make accusations, you know, we weren't doing our job, we were looking at the wrong people.
Family members begin their own aggressive effort to chase down any and all leads.
People would tell us Nikki's in this house, and the whole family would get in a car and go there, and it would get really, really chaotic because we're like wanting to kick the door in and stuff.
For the police, the family's efforts to find Nikki go seriously overboard.
Got to the point where we'd have to threaten to arrest them.
A couple of my brothers were arrested because they were doing a lot of things they probably shouldn't have, looking for Nikki.
We may have stepped on a few people's feet. I'm not gonna apologize for that because I was trying to find my baby.
Despite the efforts of both police and family, Nikki's trail goes cold. The McCowans shut Bobby Webster out of their family.
No one wants to let me know anything now. And before, I had a good relationship with the family, but it was severed.
For weeks, there are no leads. Then, 3.5 months after Nikki disappears, there's a stunning break in the case. Coming up, Nikki's car surfaces.
Oh my God, they found Nikki's vehicle. Now they can find Nikki.
Almost 4 months have passed since 28-year-old Nikki McCowan went missing from a laundromat in Richmond, Indiana. Police have tried to connect her fiancé, Bobby Webster, to her disappearance.
I felt like an outcast. I felt like everyone just locked me away in a room and just judged me. It's unfair, but it's the path I guess God chose for me to go.
Police acknowledge there's no evidence that Webster is involved.
We have a lot of information, but it doesn't take us anywhere. So that leads us to a dead end.
As hope of finding anything dims, there's a major break in the case.
We got a phone call from Montgomery County Sheriff's Department.
Nikki's vehicle has surfaced in Dayton, Ohio, 40 miles from her home in Richmond.
They had located the vehicle in an apartment complex called Meadows of Catawba.
Excited by the new lead, Richmond detectives rush to the site of the vehicle. There, they capture their first significant piece of evidence on camera.
We were elated. We thought, here we go, this is gonna help us solve the case.
My heart stopped. I felt like, oh my God, they found Nikki's vehicle. Now they can find Nikki.
The vehicle has been left in the parking lot of a Dayton apartment complex. Amazingly, though Nikki disappeared almost 4 months earlier, police find her laundry. It's still inside the car.
They said the clothes were still folded, like she'd folded them up and put them in the car. And there's her laundry, and there's her car, so where's Nikki?
Richmond police tow the car back to Indiana and put it through a battery of tests.
We checked the inside of the car for fingerprints. We checked it for hair fibers. We checked it for blood to see if there was any blood stains.
Nothing turns up. No signs of a break-in or a struggle. No fibers and no strange fingerprints.
It was hard even for us as law enforcement officers to take because we had based our hopes so much on finding the car. It was a major disappointment for us.
It broke my heart. Now we're back to square one.
The car doesn't yield any leads, but the location where it's found does. A man named Tommy Swint lives just a quarter-mile away. It turns out he once had a complicated relationship with Nikki.
Tommy Swint was a co-worker of Nikki McCown's at the Montgomery Pre-Release Center. To what extent their relationship extended is kind of up in the air.
Detectives quickly discover that Nikki and Tommy Swint had conflicting ideas about their friendship.
He was more like a big brother to her, but in his eyes, I think that he was looking at her in a different light than she was looking at him.
They also learned that Tommy Swint had a violent streak, one that Nikki's sister Michelle had experienced years earlier.
I had stopped by Nikki's apartment. Outside, I could hear her screaming, and as I opened the door, she's sitting on a chair with her foot inside his chest. He's like leaning over, and she's like, "Help, he's trying to rape me." I felt that if I hadn't stopped by that day and I hadn't walked in the door, that he may have raped Nikki.
Now, detectives want to talk to Swint, but Swint will not cooperate. And without specific evidence, police cannot force him to do anything. Like Bobby Webster, they tag him as a person of interest.
We're not saying at that point in time that he actually killed her, but he's got information that could be helpful to us to lead us to her whereabouts and what happened to her.
Despite having 2 persons of interest, the investigation stalls once again.
It just dries up. The case goes cold on us.
The McCowans struggle to keep Nikki's case in the public eye.
That's the thing that they tell you to do. Keep it in the media's attention. Don't let them forget.
One year after Nikki vanishes, her sisters travel to New York to tell her story on a TV talk show. On the broadcast, a psychic named Sylvia Brown claims Nikki was murdered.
She said she died, that they killed her that day, and that we would find her body in a trench somewhere around the laundromat.
Nikki's sisters provide the information to police.
So we, in fact, did go out and look around the area. The idea of the trench and the laundromat didn't lead us anywhere.
Nikki's family keeps looking for her. In 2004, the family works with a missing persons organization offering a $100,000 reward for information leading to Nikki's return.
We thought with this amount of money that surely somebody out here that knew something would come forward. We had a press conference here on the second floor of the city building.
I just feel that this is Nikki's day. This is Nikki's day. You got 20 days to come forth.
To be wealthy.
To come forth and get your $100,000. $100,000 is a lot of money, and I thought that one would definitely work.
So I thought this was it. Somebody's finally gonna talk. But they didn't.
As the years pass, Nikki's disappearance and the fight to find her take a huge toll on her family.
It's like you're living a nightmare and you just wish you could wake up. Your life was fine. Now you have a missing sister.
Nikki's daughter, Peyton, just 9 at the time of Nikki's disappearance, grows up without a mom.
For the longest, I didn't like to hear the word mom. It was hard going around watching all kinds of daughters and moms holding hands and being happy together.
With Nikki gone, it's Nikki's mom and sisters who raised Peyton. On the 5th anniversary of her disappearance, family and friends gather to remember Nikki.
We gathered at the laundromat and we had candles lit.
Peyton, just 14, addresses the crowd and pleads for her mom's safe return.
Please, if just do it, just not for the family, just do it for your own good. Just do it because you feel bad for us or something. Just don't keep her away from us because she needs us and we need her.
Despite all their efforts, the family of Nikki McCowan cannot prevent her case slipping from public view. Then, without warning, 6 years after the investigation, a bombshell. Coming up, police learn that Nikki's former coworker is connected to an unsolved murder of a different woman. Get more Disappeared online at investigation.discovery.com. More than 5 years have passed since Nikki McCowan disappeared, leaving a trail of heartbreak and frustration for her family.
She had her whole life ahead of her.
We fought and fought and fought, and we get nowhere.
But just as the trail threatens to go completely cold, a revelation rocks the case. Six years after Nikki vanishes, Richmond detectives receive some shocking news. It concerns Tommy Swint, the man who worked with Nikki and once threatened her. Detectives still consider Swint a person of interest in their investigation. They're convinced he knows something. Now, they're stunned to learn Swint has been hired as a police officer for the city of Trotwood near Dayton.
We were shocked that he would be working as a police officer.
Members of Nikki McCowan's family are also stunned. They believe Swint is connected to Nikki's disappearance.
How are they gonna give somebody like this a job as a police officer? How did this just slip through the cracks?
I was mad. I was very much sure Tommy had something to do with Nikki's disappearance.
Richmond detectives quickly informed Trotwood police that Swint is a person of interest in Nikki's investigation.
We had spoke to him about the disappearance of Nikki McCowan. We had spoke to him on a couple of occasions.
Now, they moved to get him dismissed.
He was told to resign or they would start termination process on him.
Swint resigns. Stung by his downfall, Swint responds by suing the city of Richmond and its police department.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Swint?
At a press conference, Swint and his lawyer maintain that police never conclusively told him he was a person of interest in their investigation.
He was never identified as a suspect, never identified as a person of interest, never charged with a crime, never accused of being someone who was involved in anything in that nature. He was interviewed because this was a friend of his that he knew.
There was not one time that Detective Redmond told me or informed me that I was a suspect or a person of interest.
Police insist Swint knew he was a person of interest all along. His lawsuits go nowhere. Tommy Swint's firing and his link to Nikki McCowan land him in the headlines.
It was very much all over the news. There were news stories in our paper, news stories in the Dayton paper.
The coverage prompts something no one expected. An anonymous call that links Tommy Swint to an unsolved murder of a different woman.
We get a call from Dayton Police Department, one of their detectives that works cold case homicides.
It's Detective Patty Tackett. Dayton police have received some explosive information about Swint.
It was an anonymous tip that called in, and they just stated that we might want to look at him as a suspect. Gave very limited information, but just to the fact that we needed to look at him as a possible suspect.
The tip linked Swint to an unsolved murder. 16 years earlier, some forest workers had found a body in a pile of brush near Dayton and reported it to police.
What they discovered there was a blanket wrapped around and taped around the body of a young female.
The body was identified as 33-year-old Tina Marie Ivory. She had been the victim of a vicious strangling.
Tina Marie Ivory was a troubled young woman who had fallen into a life of prostitution and who lived in the Dayton area.
At the time, stains on the blanket enabled Dayton forensic experts to create a specific DNA profile of Ivory's killer. But there was a problem. Detectives needed a suspect, a potential match for their profile.
We can get DNA off of a victim or from a homicide scene, but that DNA is only as good as if we do have the suspect's DNA.
There were no suspects in the Ivory case, so no match for the DNA profile. Like the McCowan case, the Tina Marie Ivory investigation went cold and stayed that way.
For 16 years, they hadn't had any information as far as who did this to this woman.
Until November 2007, when police received that anonymous tip linking the Ivory murder and Tommy Swint. Now, armed with that tip, Dayton detectives reactivate the Ivory investigation.
The first thing that they needed to do was to be able to find if there was a way to match the DNA that they had from 1991 to Tommy Swint's DNA.
Aware that Swint is a person of interest in the McCowan case, Dayton detectives approached their counterparts in Richmond.
And we just follow up on that lead, which took us to Richmond, contacted Richmond.
Incredibly, Richmond police can provide Dayton detectives with Swint's DNA. They have a sample. Just a few months earlier, during the controversy in which Swint was ousted from Trotwood Police, Richmond detectives saw their opportunity to obtain Swint's DNA.
He was telling the public and through his attorney that he'd more than cooperated for the Richmond Police Department. That's when we said, okay, if you say you're cooperating, give us your DNA.
At police headquarters in Richmond, officials took the sample from Swint.
We take DNA samples for several reasons. Is one, if something would show up later on, if we could find Nikki McCowan's body, if there was any DNA on her, we would have that to match up.
Now, Richmond police send Swint's sample to Dayton's crime lab.
We were able to take his profile and match it against the DNA profile we made during the analysis of the samples taken from the clothing and the wrapping material of the victim.
They were able to match that with DNA that was found on the body of the female that was murdered.
Detectives have matched Swint's DNA to DNA from the Tina Marie Ivory crime scene. But they still need to tie Swint directly to her murder.
Just because you have DNA on a body doesn't make that person the person that murdered her. You have to get more evidence that puts Tommy Swint's DNA there.
Detectives must place Swint at the scene of the crime. Forensic experts re-examine the major evidence in the Ivory case.
We also had the tape that was used to bind the victim. So the fingerprint examiner looked at the tape again.
Amazingly, the re-examination reveals a further impression, unseen 16 years earlier.
They were able to lift in a palm print from tape that was used to wrap the body that they didn't have the technology to get back in 1991. Then the next hurdle was to be able to match the fingerprint to Tommy Swint.
Dayton detectives traveled to Alabama to obtain Tommy Swint's fingerprints. Their prime suspect has recently relocated south.
We went down and actually did a traffic stop on him in order to bring him to the police station in Alabama to get his fingerprints. He was cooperative, he gave them to us.
The detectives are able to interview Swint, a moment captured on a police camera.
Well, if I told you we had your DNA off her, would you believe it?
No, I don't believe it.
And the reason is because we're not, you killed her.
So what?
That you killed her.
Are you stating that I killed her?
I'm asking you, did you kill her? Okay,
I don't
if
even
I'm
know.
telling you that we have evidence that says that you did, what do you have to say to that?
And all due respect. And I understand what your job is. But I'm gonna have to bring this to a close.
The detectives keep questioning Swint about Tina Marie Ivory and do not ask him about Nikki McCowan's disappearance. There is still no evidence linking him to Nikki's case. Back in Dayton, the crime lab receives Swint's fingerprint profile. Experts examine it to see if it matches the print found on the tape wrapped around Tina Ivory's body.
It was compared against that impression that was picked off the tape, and a positive identification was made.
It was a match that the fingerprints that were on the tape did belong to Tommy Swint.
For Dayton detectives, the fingerprint match triggers an arrest warrant for Tommy Swint. For Richmond detectives, it's equally significant. Their person of interest in the Nikki McCowan case is now close to being indicted for the murder of another woman.
We saw a possibility of finally ending the case of Nikki McCowan.
coming up. A shocking twist in the search for Nikki McCowan's killer.
I said, Lord, you didn't bring me this far just to let this happen.
Almost 9 years have passed since Nikki McCowan vanished. Now, authorities are closing in on Nikki's former friend and coworker for the murder of a different woman. A grand jury in Dayton, Ohio, indicts Tommy Swint for the killing of Tina Marie Ivory. It's the moment detectives have been waiting for.
We were hoping that he would say something, admit to us or to them that what happened to Nikki McCowan.
Less than 1 hour later, police prepare to arrest Swint in Russell County, Alabama.
I contacted Alabama to let them know that the indictment had come out, and they did their procedures as far as getting their back up in order to make sure that they made the arrest.
At exactly 1 p.m., police drive up to Swint's house. They approach the front door. At that moment, a shot rings out.
They heard a gunshot, and they went into the house.
Police break down the door and find Swint on the floor, a gun in his hand.
They had found that Tommy had actually taken his life.
Detectives on the McCowan case are devastated.
We're instantly pissed. We're angry. You know, our one shot that we thought we had of finally finding out, getting a conclusion to Nikki McCowan is up in smoke.
Nikki's family hears the unsettling news.
My son, he said, Mom, you know what this means, don't you? And I said, what? He said, you ain't gonna find no answer. Excuse me. I said, oh no. I said, oh, please don't let this be right. I said, so close, so close.
Nine years after Nikki McCowan disappeared from the laundromat in Richmond, her case has no resolution. Still, her family is grateful that Tina Marie Ivory's family has some answers.
I feel blessed that Nikki at least brought closure to Tina Marie Ivory's family, because this wouldn't have happened if there was no missing Nikki McCowan.
For Nikki's family, the death of Tommy Swint is a missed opportunity.
I said, Lord, you didn't bring me this far just to let this happen. I said, this ain't right. I said, this ain't right.
They firmly believe Tommy Swint was responsible for Nikki's disappearance.
I was really upset the fact that he took himself out. I wanted him to face the music. I want to be able to look that person in the face and tell them how they've destroyed my family. Ask them why they took my sister. I feel like my family deserves at least that opportunity.
Richmond police insist the investigation will continue, but they also understand the consequences of their person of interest's suicide.
The case will stay open until we find out what happened to her. Unfortunately, with Mr. Swint taking his own life, we might never know.
For one man, Nikki's fiancé, investigated by police early on, Swint's death has brought relief. He too believes Swint was responsible for Nikki's disappearance.
His suicide was sort of an answer. I mean, why would someone shoot themselves in the head, you know, if they've got nothing to hide?
Today, Bobby Webster has drawn closer to Nikki's family, particularly to her daughter Peyton.
We text and talk on the phone constantly, and I get a chance to take her shopping here and there. And that's one person throughout the ordeal I can honestly say still by my side was Peyton.
I still have love for him. He is like a father figure, and I still call him my stepdad. He took me away from what was going on with the adults.
Now 17, Peyton is still hopeful that someday her mother will return.
I still think my mom's out there somewhere. I'm not sure if she's alive or dead, but, you know, until they can prove it to me, you know, she's still alive to me.
For the McCowan family, Nikki lives on in Peyton.
When she smiles, it brightens my day, because it's like looking directly at Nikki. And Nikki would be very proud of the young lady she's become.
The family search for Nikki goes on.
I promised her daughter that I would never give up on her mom. I will find out what happened to my sister. And I'm going to keep that promise to Peyton.
Until I find out where she's laying or who has her. Until I find that, I'll probably be in limbo the rest of my life. There's somebody's got to give a damn for all the Nickies out there, and there's so many of them.